Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's a video I haven't made in a little while, and I just feel like I needed to make it because I'm getting all these influx of questions again, and it's the question I hate the most. Do you think athlete or team X or Y have guys who use drugs on their team? Do you think this model or this IFBB physique guy or someone else is using drugs? And the first question I have to ask is, why does it matter to you? Does it even matter to your life? Are you trying to become a professional? If you're trying to become a professional, yeah, you're probably going to need drugs. Welcome to the real world. If you want to make a living off of your physique or your athletic performance, the odds that you're going to be able to do so without drugs is slim to none. And that's assuming you even have the genetics for it. So why people ask this is really silly. You shouldn't be using people who are professionals as a standard anyways. They probably have better genetics than you. Their life revolves around whatever they do. And yeah, they probably use drugs. So on top of that, if you're not in all three of those situations, that's silly. Now, if that happens to be your dream and you know you can achieve it, then by all means, do whatever you got to do. And the next question becomes, do people actually have any critical thinking skills here? Guys, this stuff is a business. This is not, when we come to professional sports today, million-dollar sports to where you can get a $5 or a $10 million contract, or modeling where you're competing with other people for photo shoots or sponsorships. Guys, that's not about cheating. That is about money. That's about putting bread on your table. That's about improving your life. That's about improving the life of your children. It's not about cheating, and you're damn right. Anybody with any sense is going to do whatever it takes to be competitive. And it would be the same with any other job, to where let's say that they made a pill or an injection that you could take once a week that would make a lot of people better at their job, what they do for a living, particularly if it's a decent living, not necessarily working class. And what if in some companies or professions there was no rules against it? There's no rules at all. It's not regulated. They just don't want you to talk about it publicly. And if you talk about it publicly, you might lose your job or get reprimanded. Well, yeah, you would probably do it if it made you 20 or 30% better and you're competing for that job spot with somebody else and you're looking at, well, I want to get a nice house one day. I'd like to be able to send my children to college. Hell yeah, you're going to use that drug, particularly if the effects are mild, even if they've been overblown in the media. If you know that it's probably not going to kill you, of course you're going to do it. And even if it's in the rules, what if they have no way to stop you? Meaning a company has a policy or the industry has a policy that you're not supposed to do it, and they test for it, but the testing doesn't work, just like with steroids and most anabolics in sports. Of course you're going to do it, and the people who don't do it are going to struggle to be competitive. They're going to be the minority who are successful. When there's no rules against it, you can be sure that the majority are doing it. Absolutely. Why wouldn't they? It's not even cheating at that point. It's not being dishonest. It's not cheating if it's not against the rules. Such as modeling. Such as the IFBB. Now, it might be lying for the sponsorship and lying to the public, but that's a different story. Lying and cheating are two different things. And what about if it is against the rules? Well, sometimes it's against the rules for public purposes, but it's not against the rules inside the sport, such as football. If you go, guys, look closely at the NFL, look closely at the rules and the loopholes. They have amazing loopholes to let the guys use drugs and get away with it. Amazing loopholes to make it easier for them so they don't have to work as hard or spend as much money bypassing the testing like they have to do in other sports, and they can focus on just being good at their sport. I can tell you right now, when they talk about random testing in the NFL, somebody with $20 million in the bank, I promise you, doesn't get randomly tested. Somebody somewhere drops them a leak and says, hey, you're on a roster to possibly be tested next month. They're going to get a message somewhere, and they're probably going to tip that person off 10, 20 grand for that little message. So you need to be realistic about that. And two, if they do get the message, or even if they don't, and they know they're in a period of time to where they might be on the roster or they might come up dirty, guess what? In the NFL, they have a rule that at any time, at any point, and this is unlimited use, your physician or the team's physicians can write you a note to pull you out of random drug testing for the next 3 weeks. You need one note from a doctor, and if you do that, they pull you out of testing. You can't be drug tested during that 3 weeks. And it's oftentimes because, oh, he has a cold and I put him on cold medicines that'll make him test positive and anything like that. The doctors can excuse you. That is in the NFL rules. So the team owners know that. They've done that because the reality is the officials in the NFL and the team owners, the people who make the rules of the sport, sure as hell do not want a clean NFL. There's too much money. It's worth billions. Billions. The industry would crumble to nothing if everybody on the field was clean. So obviously they don't want it. So you get in a situation like that. You only have the rule for PR purposes. But the rule in place in reality is, you guys know what you need to do it, we'll cover you. So you get into these situations and all of these things to where this is not cheating. It is about business. It is about money. It's about people making a living or making a fortune. So when you ask that question, well, is this athlete or this model or this bodybuilder who's in ads and being sponsored by supplement companies, is he on drugs? The answer is almost certainly yes. And there might be exceptions to the rule. There probably are in some cases. There's probably a few really good models out there who are clean. But they are the exception to the rule. And the reality becomes, why does it matter if they're the exception to the rule? Why do you care? Has no bearing on your life, has no bearing with your personal results. And as I've said before, since you know that these people probably have better genetics than you, their lifestyle is probably revolves around what they do because it is their profession, that should not be your standard of what you set yourself against, because you're going to fall short. You're going to disappoint yourself. So rather than stand around worrying about, is this person or that person on something when they're a professional, the answer should be, yeah, they probably are, almost certainly. Maybe not, but odds are they are. So why should you even ask? Why should you even care? Doesn't affect you. You're not going to be them anyways. And if you do want to be them, just because they have the genetics, that 1 in a million genetics to pull it off without drugs, doesn't mean you're going to be able to, unless you just look like that already from training and eating good. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.